fell asleep amid the flowers for a couple of hours. Such a beautiful day.
Wish I could say it breaks my heart.
Papá. Papá.
La Casa Muda es una película uruguaya de terror. Fue filmada por un modelo especial de cámara fotográfica que permite grabar imágenes en movimiento y en alta definición. Eso le permite al director Gustavo Hernández seguir de cerca al personaje principal durante más de una hora en su recorrido por un lugar siniestro. De eso se trata La Casa Muda de la Resistencia, que opone un espacio físico a la presencia de una joven aterrada. Lo que vemos son desplazamientos por el lugar, ruidos misteriosos que llegan de fuera, unas cuantas sorpresas argumentales y el acoso de la cámara a un cuerpo débil, cada vez más inerme y frágil. Los mejores momentos de la película son aquellos en los que no entendemos lo que pasa y compartimos con la protagonista esos minutos de angustia. La cámara y sus trayectorias son muy importantes porque aparecen como rastros de una mirada poderosa que acrecienta el miedo. Es una presencia fantasmal más a la que se agregan sonidos inexplicables y que crecen en intensidad. Pero la película no se resigna a ser solo un buen film de miedo. Al final intenta explicarlo todo, dejar las cosas en claro y ofrecer una lectura psicológica del asunto que termina siendo inconsistente.
See that guy? That's me. My excuse for looking like this? I'm a writer.
Eddie, maybe it's time to let the writing go.
But just in case you think nothing ever happened to me.
Eddie Mora!
Hey! Tell me about this book.
Well, how much have you written of it?
Not one word.
Well, I suppose I can help you with that. You know how they say that we can only access 20% of our brain? This lets you access all of it.
Se estrena Sin Límites, una extraña película con Bradley Cooper y Robert De Niro. Y es extraña porque apuesta por la combinación de géneros. El thriller se cruza con lo fantástico, se agregan toques de humor y todo está envuelto por la naturaleza absurda, improbable e ilusoria de la intriga. Nada se puede creer en esta historia y todo, sin embargo, resulta muy verosímil. Aporta mucho el tono relajado del relato y el aire de suficiencia impuesto por el director, que parece no tomarse nada en serio, pero sin que nada lo angustie. Al contrario, todos parecen pasarla muy bien, incluido Robert De Niro.
Your powers are a gift from God or whoever the hell wrote your life script. I'll open up a line of credit for you. You'll be wanting a few toys.
How many of us ever know what it is to become the perfect version of ourselves? What's the asking price?
12.5.
I'll take it. Everything I have, I want to share with you.
What you doing, hon? You think somebody's watching?
My brain is skipping time. I have no memory of the last 4 days.
I'm living in that 21st century, doing something mean to it.
Your powers are not earned. You're careless with those powers. Have you asked yourself what you're going to do when you run out? You'll die.
No one man should have all that power. The clock's ticking, I just count the hours.
There's no scenario in which you'd lead this life where you don't work for me.
no scenario. I see every scenario. I see 50 scenarios. That's what it does, Carl. It puts me 50 moves ahead of you. Worth the risk? What would you do?
Is to me, it's a righteous, generically American film movement that went from 1945 to 1958 and exposited one great theme, and that theme is you're You have just met a woman. You are inches away from the greatest sex of your life. But within 6 weeks of meeting the woman, you will be framed for a crime you did not commit, and you will end up in the gas chamber. And as they strap you in and you're about to breathe the cyanide fumes, you'll be grateful for the few weeks you had with her and grateful for your own death. Noir is, to me, it's a righteous, generically American film movement that went from 1945 to 1958 and exposited one great theme, and that theme is you're You have just met a woman. You are inches away from the greatest sex of your life. But within 6 weeks of meeting the woman, you will be framed for a crime you did not commit, and you will end up in the gas chamber. And as they strap you in and you're about to breathe the cyanide fumes, you'll be grateful for the few weeks you had with her and grateful for your own death.
I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know anything except how much I hated. But I didn't take anything. I didn't, Jim. Won't you believe me?
Baby, I don't care.
In noir, people go to jail. Good men die. Criminals win. Evil triumphs over good.
You could almost say that film noir is the son of German expressionism and American tough guys.
The pure genre is very, very gut-wrenching, appealing to your own kind of doubts and uncertainties. It's late-night stuff.
I can't figure it. What do you see in a guy like me?
I see a guy who's swell, who's kind and strong. That's what I see.
There's certain naivete. The characters are very clear what they want, and we always know that most of them will fail.
Oh, it's gonna be all right, Bill. You wait and see.
Julie. I won tonight. I won.
Down these mean streets, lurks, and so on. That's noir.
I'm gonna go home and go to bed where I can't get into trouble.
You think not?
I'll see you all of a sudden, Sammy.
People confuse crime stories and noir. Well, the biggest difference I see is crime fiction tends to be realistic. It tends to be in the here and now, and it tends to strive to shock you with just how gritty and real it is. I find crime stories tend to be very literal, often quite boring, generally rather ugly to look at. Whereas noir is gorgeous, it's all style, but it's the emotional realism is what you're after. It's not that you're divorcing yourself from reality, it's just you're saying reality is my clay.
Don't come in.
These are crime films. You know, they fall under the large umbrella of crime films. But certainly the type of subject matter that distinguishes film noir is this idea of total moral ambiguity that is inaugurated in The Maltese Falcon. It's the sense that the hero is not necessarily grounded in any sense of right or wrong, and a large part of that has to do with the sense that the whole world is also one of radical instability.
We didn't exactly believe your story, Miss O'Shaughnessy. We believed you $200.
You mean that?
I mean, you paid us more than if you'd been telling us the truth and enough more to make it all right.
There is a real political streak in these movies, because in the 1930s, when Warner Brothers was cranking out gangster pictures, they were lessons to the public, like crime does not pay. Then noir came along after the war and complicated things because you were asked to empathize and identify with those criminals in a way that wasn't really allowed in the 1930s.
Because of the situation at the end of World War II, the themes of these movies tend to be dark, cynical, and pessimistic about human nature.
Film noir, unlike other film, feels no responsibility to reflect some sort of cinematic morality. Film noir just is. It doesn't talk down to you. It doesn't condescend to you. It says to you, this is the way the world is, and this is the way the world is going to come out, and we're not going to pretend that cinema has all of the answers.
Aren't you in this deep enough? If you help them, won't it make it worse for you?
That's the way it's got to be.
I can tell you I know it when I see it, but I don't know how to define it. Almost every element that you name as the definition of a noir film would apply to Casablanca, but you would not call Casablanca a noir film.
Go ahead and shoot. You'll be doing me a favor.
Film noir is a very elusive thing to define. It's trench coats, it's intrigue, it's cigarettes, it's the lying between men about a woman, it's hidden motives, it's the psychological turning over of characters. I think it's a very elusive genre.
You take some horrible sort of satisfaction in seeing people torn apart.
They're headed for it anyway. You're headed for it. You're hanging on to something, it's going to smack you. If I fold now, it smacks you later. If I stick, it smacks you sooner. But cleaner. Maybe that's why I'm sticking.
Film noir is not a genre. It's a style. It crosses many genres.
I know there are people that think that you can have a Western that's a noir. Or a war picture that's a noir. Generally, I tend to think that it's a crime thriller. What designates a film as noir is when the writer and the director tell the story from the criminal's point of view. The audience is made to identify with the criminals.
The way I figure, my luck's just got to turn. One of these days I'll make a real killing, then I'm going to hit for home. First thing I do when I get there, I take a bath in the creek and get this city dirt off me.
That, to me, is a major distinction. A picture like On Dangerous Ground is a noir because Robert Ryan plays this cop who really has a psychotic streak in him, and it's told through his eyes, and that's a noir.
For me, film noir is a historical movement in the history of film. It began in earnest after World War II, started to decline with the advent of television, and by the end of the 50s, it was over.
You're stubborn, but you're not afraid. You're an ex-con with a new beef around your neck, and I can hang you with it.
Hang me then. One job like that, and I'm your pet rat for the rest of my life.
Film noir is not a genre, but it is, in fact, a kind of tone poem for film. The visual tone as well as the psychology of the film. If you look at a film noir that's more or less typical, we could even use The Maltese Falcon. It has a certain world that has been established and created by the filmmakers, where the style and the content are very close together, in the sense it represents a world of extremes, of shadows, of extremes in emotion, working in the sort of the seamy underbelly of San Francisco life. And the world is his world. He inhabits it, we inhabit it, and everything about it has to do with the tone and the style of the film being completely meshed into one.